big day here at Fanelli Restorations, Mopar Madness. We're taking Hefty, my prized 67 Coronet, and we are finally gonna shorten the rear end on this car. I've owned this car since 2016, 2018. It's been driven from North Carolina to New York, Long Island, upstate New York, and then all the way across country from New York to out here in Utah. And these big fat meats underneath is what gives Hefty her name. They're 18.5 inch wide by 29 inch tall, Mickey Thompson Sportsmans. They're way cool. It's been on the car since I got it, but they just don't got that deep dish look because they never actually shortened the axle on this car when they built it. You've got an immense amount of backspacing. I think there's about 12 inches of backspacing on these, so from the side, it kind of looks like a regular wheel, but from the back, it looks cool as hell. We're gonna change that. We're gonna shorten these axle tubes, bring it in, and actually put a set of really nice weld racing wheels in the car. And I haven't decided yet whether I'm gonna leave it offset with the aluminum weld racing wheels in the back and black up front. Maybe do both aluminum up front. I don't know. I've always liked the way the black wheels look with the car with the black hood, but we'll figure that out. Our job today is to get these wheels out from underneath this car. We're just gonna take the whole axle out across. This should be a hour job. Might take 4, but once we get it out, take her over to Roger's shop and we can start cutting this thing up. Then we can order our new axles from Moser, so we're gonna have to just give them the actual length of the new axle shafts that we want. Get those on order here and make it in time to get to Matt's. So this is the chariot for me and Alex to get out to Matt's, so we gotta get this done and done quickly. All of this amid Alex's Duster 440 build, because again, we wanted to get this car to Matt's because of current world events. We probably aren't getting this car to Matt's this year also because we're not just doing an engine swap like we said anymore. We're actually gonna be tubbing the rear, shortening the axle, big meats out back. We're still getting stuff done over at the machine shop for the engine, but at the same time, we're working Hefty because that's in a few weeks and we're trying to get to the show in Vegas. So let's get Hefty pulled in here into the driveway and we can pop out this rear axle and get it over to Rogers and start cutting it down. Pretty much everything we should need here to pop off those U-bolts on the leaf springs, get the shocks off of the axle, and disconnect the drive shaft. So let's make quick work of this and do it. Shocks off. Wow, vicious shop dog in attack. Oh boy. All right. And ultimately what I'd like to do is actually get rid of these leaf springs. Probably wind up putting coilovers for the time being. Might not have enough time for the show. Might throw the coilovers in with the leaf springs just to have it doubled up. But when I bought this car, they did a really kind of backyard hack job on the frame rails towards the front here of what they did, and it just looks really hokey and crappy, and it's something I've always wanted to get rid of. So by putting in the coilovers, we can eliminate all that stuff up front where basically the bottom of the leaf spring hangs onto. You can see all of that ugliness and that boxing and stuff up front. It's just gross. It just looks like crap. I've never liked driving around with it looking like that because, of course, it's my car. People might think I did that. Not my work at all. So I'm gonna eliminate all of that ugliness, and then we can properly reroute the modified frame rails from the tub job. And another great thing we saw too is that Alex and I went and did some donuts last night to burn these tires one more time for fun. Looks like we've got an axle bearing or an axle seal going because I got axle grease on my finger when I smelled it before, so another blessing in disguise there. But nonetheless, yeah, we're gonna, for now, keep the leaf springs at the moment, but I'm gonna get rid of these and just go total coilovers and 4-link on this and make it look a lot nicer and proper. Out of the way. Got these hangers disconnected. Now we can leave a little pressure here on the axle. And then we can get these guys popped out. Alright, now we're free here. There we go. We've got our leaf springs over here are free. So now we can just get these U-bolts down. Even though I had these off last summer, and they should come out pretty easily. It's always just want to spray them with a little lubricant just to make sure, because these things will get pretty hot. Kind of bound up as they come out. Okay, there it is. 4 nuts off of our U-bolts, and now our leaf spring is free to hang low. And we'll just get that tire fastened back on so we can just roll her off. And we'll do the same thing over here. Alrighty, he's down. And out. Alrighty. One thing I'm forgetting. Brake line. That would have been bad. I'm gonna get rid of these damn air shocks too, because they suck. These things never work. They never hold air. They always wind up leaking out on you, so no way there. Something better in here. Goodbye air shocks. Coilovers would be so much better. So much better. Just disconnecting the brake lines here from the axle, and then we can pop that guy off from the splitter, little splitter box here, and then this breather cap comes out of the axle right there. And now that's free. We get this guy disconnected. Our axle's already disconnected from the drive shaft, and she can come out. Everything is free and clear under here. Bring this axle down. Sweet. That's it. Just hang it out just barely on that. Okay. That is one hefty rear end out. Get this thing over to Rogers, get the new wheels, make our measurements from our back spacing, and then we can determine based upon the difference between current back spacing on these wheels and the new ones, how much we gotta shorten the axle tubes. Cool. All right, we'll get these tires off. now we can put these in our garden or somewhere else for fun decorations, because bye-bye giant backspacing. We don't need you no more. Cool. Right away she goes. Yeah. With our 8 3/4 here, this is our 742 casing. So the third member, this part here, some people refer to them as a pumpkin or center chunk, but this is the third member here on our 8 3/4 axle. So our 742, which is the last 3 numbers here on the casing, this is the middle grade one. So you had a 741, 742, and a 489. The 742 had a 1 3/4 inch pinion, which is pretty beefy. I mean, even the 741 had a 1 3/8 inch, your 742 had a 1 3/4 inch, and your 489 had a 1 7/8 inch pinion. So they're all a really sturdy, beefy rear end. This thing does plenty good for Hefty's 383, and maybe someday we'll beef that thing up too. But for now, we're gonna get this thing stripped down, check out how our bearings look inside of it. We've already know we've got a leak here on this side of the axle bearing here, so we're gonna get that taken care of. I wound up having to section and bring this in. I've never done this before, and I've always wanted to learn how to shorten a rear, so we're gonna get to do it on here for Hefty and for Alex's Duster too. So hopefully I'm a master by the time I'm done with Hefty's one here, and we can do Alex's in no time. Let's see about that. While we're doing this, someday I might go ahead and put disc brakes on this car, but for right now we want to get it to Matt's. The drums were pretty good, so if you're looking here on the inside, you can see a lot of wear, and it might be hard for you to, you can't see this really at home. There are a lot of grooves and inconsistencies on the face here of the drum. So we're gonna get some new drums ordered up. These are 10 inches, 2.5 inch wide on the shoes. So we'll get some of those new ones ordered up, and I'll start here by kind of disassembling the drum assembly, and then we can pop out the axle shafts and then get the rest of the axle taken apart. So we have a 4:10 gear ratio, which is what I thought we had. So it's a short grip. So for you Chevy boys, that'd be posi, but in the Mopar world, it's a short grip. So that means you got 2 wheels spinning, lane rubber, and yeah, 410 gears. So you've got 4.10 rotations of the drive shaft for every 1 rotation of your tire. A 9/16 right here, going through this little witness hole in the outer flange. We're gonna get our axles out, and then we can get our parts from our drum brake assembly apart later. And like we said, maybe later down the road we'll wind up putting disc brakes in this, but right now it's really not all too expensive for drums. These are 10 inches, 10-inch drums. They're pretty strong still. They do a good job of stopping, and most importantly, we don't have to wait on parts as that being a delay getting to show. So we get this axle out on the side, and we'll flip it over and do the other one. Pull this axle out, so we just gotta rethread on our old right-hand thread lug nuts, which is something that Chrysler did for a number of years. There are different theories as to why they thought it would keep the lug nuts from flying off the car or something like that. Don't quote me on the exact reason, but yeah, on your driver's side you had right-hand thread, which means lefty tighty, righty loosey. something that they did. So we're gonna get rid of these anyway when we get new axles cut for it from Moser. She's wanting to take the run with her. Ooh, yummy. Yeah, that seal is definitely starting to give way. Smells good in there too. And here it is, our 3/4 driver's side axle. We'll have new ones cut. All right, now we'll just rinse and repeat and get this axle pulled out here from the passenger side. There it is. Axle number 2.
Bitch back to New York.
Yeah. And we'll pop off this drum assembly here. And we'll get this all cleaned up. Years ago, someone had cut the e-brake cables in the car, and they were stuck in here still, and not anymore. We'll get these drum back in place, chemically washed, get this nice and cleaned up. And I'm just getting the bolts here off the front face of our third member, and then we can pop this big son of a bitch out. There we go. Our nice set of 410 gears with our sure grip. Cool. This whole nice assembly in the middle is your short grip, both wheels spin at the same time, versus an example here, an open differential where you can see all of these spider gears in here, so it allows one axle to turn one direction, the other one can actually turn at a slower speed and help with cornering, but you only get one wheel spinning. So it'll originally, when your drive shaft turns, your pinion here is going to rotate both at the same time. So both drive shafts will be connected in here, and this would move relative to the drive shaft. But if you hit a corner or something, or some water, and then one tire had to spin faster than the other, these little spider gears in here would rotate, and these would allow the outer wheel to spin a little bit faster than the inner wheel to keep up with the speed.
Out there, and you don't have to keep them side to side.
Doesn't matter which side they go on?
No.
Okay. Spanner nuts coming out. Carrier. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna call this a day. We'll get the pinion out tomorrow. We were just checking over the races. It looks like there's a little bit of pitting and wear in them, so we're gonna wanna get new bearings and races, and probably I might even look to change the gearing too, because it's got 410s in it right now. Even though it's fun having a lot of get go in the car when you take off from the line, I also like to highway this car and take it on a lot of road trips, so maybe we'll go with a little something lower, like a 373 or something. We'll do some research, we'll see if we do that or not, but either way, tomorrow we'll get the rest of this stripped down and cleaned up, and we'll see you then. At it today once again, so before I go and get this stuff all degreased, take it to a car wash and spray it off and get the outside of the housing nice and clean. We're gonna get the pinion nut off of here and try and get that big sucker out, and I did wind up deciding to go with different ring gear on this one, so instead of having 410s, we're gonna go to 373 and kind of help our highway out a little bit. Moser axles, cutting us some new axles, so we've got some 24-inch or 25-inch long axles now instead of the 29s that were in here, to make up for the 5 inches in difference in back spacing. And yeah, should be pretty cool to go. So that stuff will be here on Friday, and then we'll get this thing slapped back together. Didn't give you much of a fight, did it?
Oh, hell, we better try that again. That's way too easy. Must not have it back enough. This just uses a shim. You want to keep track of those.
Pinion out. What's your opinion? Pinion? Ha ha. Get it? Terrible dad joke. Just getting the race out of there. Winner.
Yeah. Some of them are more stubborn than other ones, but the trick you can do with these things is to clean the oil off, but take a MIG welder and run around the inside of it.
Oh yeah?
Part way around. As it cools, the weld cools, it'll shrink. And that thing damaged, sometimes it'll just fall out.
Oh, instead of having to hammer it out?
Uh-huh.
That's cool. Tips from the master.
If any of you YouTubers use it, you owe me a royalty.
That's right. Get that guy's royalties going to Roger. So yeah, just gonna get everything here degreased, cleaned up, and do a little bit here by hand before we head out, and spray her down with the wash. Get off this whole gasket. Soak up the rest. There's nothing like the smell of that gear oil. It's just kind of tasty. And over here in our chemical washer, just got some things nice and cleaned up in here. Got the third member housing, our old pinion, which we can save for another build in the future with the 410 gears, the backing plates with the drums, and all the hardware and stuff we need to use. So nice and clean. Nice and clean. These down. And we'll go let them dry off in the sun. Son of a bitch. Alright, did a little spray degreaser on the inside of the axle housing and got it pretty cleaned up. We're just gonna take this over now to the local spray and wash and get it cleaned up, because this thing won't fit inside our spray washer. Gonna get this 8 3/4 sprayed off here real quick. That's a winner right there. Nice and clean and degreased. Hit him with the Scotch-Brite disc, get it cleaned up really nice. Get some black paint on her. Yeah, you too. Get some black paint on her, and then back in the car she goes.
These are 9 and 3/6 steel.